We look exactly like Berlin did after the Treaty of Versailles.
Say more about that. I wanted to ask you about that. What is the Treaty of Versailles and what did it do to Berlin?
The Treaty of Versailles was post-World War I. Essentially, World War I, this is my view, after all of the history I've read about it, World War I, similar to World War II, was started by England. Mm-hmm. What you think occurred is false. Germany did not start the war. Mm-hmm. It was specifically cited that the execution of Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke, in Sarajevo by a Rothschild agent, allegedly, is what keyed it off. Why Germany, when it was an Austrian duke? Well, they had a defense pact that required them to fight the battles because Austria is small, right? And effectively, the secondary battle was over the Ottoman Empire. A lot of people don't understand that was just as important to the dialogue as breaking up Bavaria, because there was no Germany, World War I. Like, people need to understand the terminology and the facts. And the Ottoman Empire's control of the corridor to the east. So what do you get after that? You get the very first bill that writes into it reparations for a battle. You had hundreds of wars, Anglo-Saxon wars, Viking wars, Hun wars, Visigoths, all these wars that occurred, the Moors in Spain, 500 years of wars there. And no one ever said, hey, Robert, you lost. You have to pay me back for my expenses. That was the new thing.
Right.
So what did they do? Treaty of Versailles breaks up. You have Turkey founded, breaks up everything that's not theirs. This is largely the event that pissed off everybody that even created, terrorist factions in the Middle East. But you break up Germany or Bavaria at the time. You break up the Ottoman Empire, and also as part of it, they destroyed history. What do I mean when I say that? They destroyed cathedrals, buildings, libraries, all these centers of cultural history, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. Some of them that resonated electricity from ether. And that's also fascinating because then that means they're destroying technology. So the Treaty of Versailles literally physically bankrupted Bavaria / Germany and then put them on the hook for the cost of World War I.
Wow. And what is the parallel to today? Why do you say that we look like that?
So what happened as a result of that is an impoverishing of the people, a bastardization of the money, the Weimar Republic, right? You had, as currency depreciated, values depreciated with that. Yeah. And by the time Hitler rose to power, you had prostitution, pedophilia, pornography, smut in rags, controlled propaganda, and the whole kit and caboodle that look very similar to what I have to face with my young kids going to schools and stuff. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want a dude going in the bathroom with my 8-year-old daughter.
Yeah. No, yeah, the gender fluidity was occurring in the Weimar Republic as the currency was being depreciated. So there is this disintegration of monetary integrity that parallels a disintegration of moral integrity, and we are seeing it today.
It's a massive correlation.
Yes.
And as a quant, it's undeniable.
Right.
I can debate some of the subjective view of what we can read in history, but you cannot debate the correlation of those two.
Right. And, well, everyone can sense something's wrong in the world. It's going the wrong direction, but no one can really put their finger on what is to blame or what is the source. Well, here you are, guys. Here's the lesson of history. Like, this is maybe not the sole contributor. Like, it's probably multivariable, multifactorial, like many things are in complex systems. However, I would say that if you consider that money is like the economic lifeblood of the global economic organism, if you poison the lifeblood, then all of the organs get sick.
Right. And slowly but surely they fail. And you're right to say it may not be the only, but the way the cabal or the globalist or the swarm, there's many names for this loose group of a few thousand people, right? And it's big pharma, big ag, all of it coalesces under the money center. And that's why even in the early 19th century, you see the octopus across Treasury and the bank and the Capitol building. And they understood then what they were dealing with, right? And here, okay, so what are the other things that also debauch society? Oh, all the different, what do we have? 100,000 chemical, I forget what RFK said exactly. Tens of thousands of chemicals in our day-to-day food that have already been made illegal in Europe and Japan, et cetera. All right, so they're coming at that angle. Water. Well, what does fluoride do? Calcifies your pineal gland.
Yeah.
What does that do? Makes you dumb and makes you unable to think for yourself.
Yes.
So it is a multi-factored input to debauchery, right?
But all paid for with money
Well,
printing.
and here's one. Why is all pornography free?
Right.
Like, so it's not just the money, but without the centralized authority over its issuance, that's the root of the evil. And it corrupts everything. Therefore, because people are always like, "Oh, follow the money." No, they can print it. It's power and control. And now I think, unlike previous generations, where I really think there were better men 100, 200, 300 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, the quality of human being that's in control of these, corporations or NGOs or ESGs or this, that, and the other, they're a dark, worthless piece of shit that only feed off of it. They don't produce or add value to anything.
Yeah, the follow the money thing is interesting though, because they're only printing currency, and so if you follow the money, you still do tend to find truth, right? They're hoarding the gold. Well, hoarding the gold is
the central bank prints money to buy bullion, which is hilarious. So what's real money then?
Which is crazy, right? Yeah, you're actually stealing from people to use the proceeds to steal from people.
Now, if it's a public-private partnership, Robert, why do we need tons and tons of gold reserves?
Yeah, all of this comes down to this, like, is it Wittgenstein talked about language games, like it's all these language games to just
Hegelian
confuse
dialectic.
people out of the reality that you need to own things to succeed as a social organism in Darwinian reality. That's just like, that's it. So what do we want to do? The ideal social system is just where everyone owns what they work to acquire, to justly acquire, and does not steal from other people. That's the ideal social system. You can sum it up that easily.
Yeah.
But instead, we get all of these big, complicated isms and about why you need to. Well, maybe we should play the World Economic Forum.
That's perfect
video
segue.
at this point. They can't even. I can't believe they call themselves economic. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
No, that sounds like a command. Whatever you want, you'll rent.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to rent.
Handful of countries will dominate.
Yeah, because we're going to harvest them and 3D print them.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm eating meat. You're not taking away my special treat.
Not special treat. It's the most nutritious food on the
Well, that's what
planet.
they called it. They said it'll be a special treat. Are you kidding?
So they're highlighting it as special.
Yeah.
Carbon dioxide is not a pollutant.
Well, this cracks me up too, because they're saying you'll own nothing and be happy, but the only way to incentivize people not to pollute is to enforce private property rights.
The really, really dark and sick thing is they know that.
Yeah.
And for all of this pseudo care for the environment, we've had the largest destruction.
Western values have been tested to the breaking point. No, they haven't.
Yeah.
We've never tried the perfection of private property. Oh, anyways, it's very frustrating. This extreme double speak.
Hegelian dialectic. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's called. It's a strategy.
Yeah, expand upon that. So this is thesis, antithesis, synthesis, right?
Yeah, and problem, reaction, solution. That's another way to describe it. And we're going a little bit outside of my bandwidth and expertise, which is monetary history and quantitative and algorithmic investment management techniques. But the reality from a perspective as a human, a surfer, and a father, I think, and a musician is as relevant as the learned one from what I do professionally, because I'm as big a conservationist as really any person I've met in Florida with respect to what I've actually done with turtles, water health, protecting the springs with activism here in Florida. And what I can tell you from my own experience in the Surfrider Foundation and all these other entities is that pollution that we care about is largely the geoengineering that goes along in the skies and the poisoning of the waters through either chemical runoff from, as benign as from your lawns, or industrial chemical runoff where they just dump it and don't give a shit, which occurred a lot during the Industrial Revolution. You could light a lot of the rivers on fire in Connecticut, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania in 1870s to even 1930s.
Wow.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
But one thing that drives me insane, and this is a segue to, if we plant a bejesus ton of trees, we solve 99% of the problem. For example, if we're arguing temperature has increased, which I'm not here to debate that. Yeah. I'm not seeing the corresponding precipitation globally that should come with a percent Celsius increase. However, let's say it does. Guess what happens if you green city centers, you green roads, and you de-concrete, de-asphalt areas? There's an area of Medellin that they tried this 2 years ago in Colombia. This is where my wife's family's from. It lowered the average temperature in this few mile region by 2 Celsius.
Wow.
By just greening it.
Yeah.
So if we don't have enough money to feed and clothe our homeless, then, can we transfer some of the money you're stealing for your carbon taxes to just planting some trees?
Just planting trees, yeah.
And what are they doing? You have fires out west as a form of warfare. Just like the couple hurricanes. I'm going to get slammed for that. But look, as a Floridian, we know what's natural and what's not natural. There's a lot of things that I'm skeptical of with these here. So as a true conservationist, cleaning water and air has really easy solves that aren't that costly. Yeah. What they're trying to sell people on is their own inclination to be moral and concerned, and even be selfless and empathetic, and convert that into a transactable way to take away stuff from you.
Yes, it's the classic from each according to their ability to each according to their need, where you weaponize
Marxism.
people's compassion against them to get them to accept an ideology that does not serve their best interest.
No, and it just drives me nuts. We're the carbon they want to eliminate. It's not debatable. And of course, like if it's not, I don't know how people could understand it's not obvious we're supposed to use fossil fuels for energy. Like I'm not saying they need to have all the refined chemicals. There's a better way to do everything.
Yeah.
But let's Socratic or Hippocratic oath, let's first do no harm.
Yeah.
All right, what can we do immediately as a community? We can plant trees and we can ban forever chemicals. Like those are two things that fix a lot of the problem instantaneously, and then ban geoengineering.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money, and be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.